Hi, and welcome to the Men on the Path to Love podcast. Pets and Partnerships, the role of pets in relationship episode. I'm Bill Simpson, your host. I coach men who are done suffering in their relationships, men who want deeper love and real connection, and to finally feel like themselves again. I help them become the best version of themselves and for their current relationship or the one they're ready to find, so they can live the life they love. So often when I talk about what strengthens relationships, I often talk about, communications and trust and intimacy and all that. But there's another aspect that we don't talk much about, and it didn't really occur to me until recently, and that's the role of pets. Yeah, and believe it or not, research shows that pets can make a real difference in how couples connect. And I know that from a personal perspective. For years, my wife and I didn't have any pets, and we did great. My father-in-law was a veterinarian, so my wife always had animals around when she was growing up. And I had a dog as a child and as a young adult. But for a long time, we lived without any pets. And then one day we decided, you know what, I think it's time for some pets. And because of our work situation, we were like, dogs, that might be too much for us. So we decided to adopt 2 cats. Lily came first and then Kiki. And man, I had no idea how much richer they would make our lives. Since we don't have any children together, they've become like our kids. The shared love and joy we get from these cats adds a whole other layer of connection to our marriage. It's hard to explain. If you're a pet owner, you know what I'm talking about. It's the laughter, the comfort, and the way they bring us together in these small, everyday ways. And it just brings so much more love into our lives. And now I can't imagine living without them. And honestly, it would feel empty. And the research actually supports this. And we didn't get these cats out of research, but here it is. A study published in the Journal of Social Psychology found that couples with pets often report greater relationship satisfaction than those without. And the reason is because pets provide this shared joy, the daily routines, and even stress relief that partners can experience together. Another study from the American Psychological Association showed that pet owners tend to have higher self-esteem, better physical health, and stronger feelings of belonging. And all of these factors contribute to a healthy relationship. In other words, like pets can act as this kind of like social glue. It helps couples connect through the shared responsibility and emotional support. And this reminds me of friends of ours. I'll call them George and Amal, not their real names. Amal had grown up with dogs all her life. And when she and George got married, they had had a dog, and this dog required a lot of extra care. And when that dog passed, both of them were deeply impacted. But Amal especially felt the loss. They were empty nesters, and with George working long hours as an executive of his company, Amal spent much of her day alone. And over time, George noticed that she wasn't herself. So one day, he suggested getting another dog, partly to keep Amal company while he was away. And Amal lit up and was all in. And when they brought the new dog home, her mood shifted almost immediately. But something surprising happened too. George had shifted. He felt more connected to Amal and felt more engaged at home. Their relationship grew stronger because now they had this shared responsibility, the shared love and the shared joy of caring for this dog, for this new family member. And this story of George and Amal reflects what the research tells us, that having companionship of a pet reduces loneliness, decreases stress hormones, and even increases oxytocin, the bonding hormone that helps couples feel closer. And when I think about it, perhaps the biggest thing is that pets give couples something to care for together. It's like a microcosm of family. It's creating teamwork, empathy, and nurturing that carries over into the relationship. And I've got to say, of course, getting a pet isn't always easy, right? And it's not the right move for every couple. It's like you say to kids when they want a pet, pets require time, money, energy, and emotional bandwidth, and who's going to take care of this animal, right? Well, if one partner isn't on board, or if stress at home is already high, then adding the responsibility of a pet can actually create more tension instead of easing it. So before you adopt, have that conversation. Think about it. Talk about it openly. What are your expectations? What are the routines? What kind of pet truly fits your lifestyle? Is it a dog, high maintenance, a cat, low maintenance, or even lower maintenance, a goldfish? Right? Well, whatever it is, when it's done thoughtfully, pets can enrich your relationship. But if you rush into it or you force it, they can add stress you're not ready for. All right? And here's the truth. Pets won't fix a struggling relationship. Yeah, let's go get a dog because our relationship's messed up. No. But pets can absolutely enrich a healthy relationship. These pets can bring out our softer sides, right? They remind us to be present and give us reasons to laugh, care, and connect. And I'll say for my wife and me, Lily and Kiki, they're more than just cats, man. They're our companions who add warmth and depth to our marriage. And for George and Amal, a dog helped them reconnect in a new season of life. So whether you're a dog person, a cat person, or just someone who loves animals, remember this. The love we give and receive through our pets often teaches us how to love each other better. This week's quote comes from Academy Award nominee for his part in the movie Babe. I love that movie. He was Babe's owner. James Cromwell is the actor. He says, quote, "Pets are humanizing. They remind us we have an obligation to nurture, care for, and love," unquote. Yeah, and that's just it. Pets remind us every day of the same values that make our relationships work. The empathy, the patience, responsibility, and that unconditional love, man. And when we care for them together, we're not just raising animals. We're practicing the very skills that keep our relationships alive and growing. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Men on the Path to Love podcast, Pets and Partnerships, the Role of Pets in Relationship episode. I'm Bill Simpson, your host. Thank you for listening. Now, coming up on the next episode of the Men on the Path to Love podcast, with football season in full swing here in the U.S., I'll be diving into a topic that hits home for a lot of couples: sports. Whether it's watching them, playing them, or coaching the kids, sports can bring people together or create real tension in a relationship. Do they build connection or do they become a wedge? Please join me for the Game On, the impact of sports on relationships episode to find out. And if this podcast resonates with you, let a pet lover know, or anyone else you think who needs to listen, and share the link to this podcast and share the love. And until next time, keep your heart open and stay on the path to love.